Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive, powered by Grade Guru. We're going to be cracking open Chapter 8 of your marketing textbook today to help you dominate those upcoming exams. We're diving deep into the world of products and services, and to help us break it all down, we've got a marketing expert with us. Don't forget that GradeGuru.nl has got you covered with practice exams and a full chapter summary, so you can really lock in this knowledge.
Absolutely. We're going to cover those core concepts that always seem to pop up on exams. Let's kick things off with what might seem like a pretty simple question. What exactly is a product?
All right, so I think I know this one. It's basically like anything a company's trying to sell, right?
Mhm.
Like a phone, a service, an idea. It's all considered a product in the marketing world.
You're on the right track there, but let's refine that a bit. A product is anything that's offered to a market that can satisfy a want or a need. The key takeaway here is that it's got to be something that the customer sees as valuable. Now, how does that differ from a service? Think about what makes a service unique compared to, let's say, that new phone you've been wanting.
Hmm. A service is more about an experience, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't actually hold a service.
Hmm.
So maybe the main difference is tangibility, whether you can physically touch it.
You nailed it. Tangibility is the defining characteristic. A product is tangible, you can touch it and you can own it. But a service, on the other hand, is intangible. You're buying the benefit or the experience it provides. Like, think about a concert ticket. The ticket itself, that little piece of paper, that's tangible. But the actual concert, the music, the atmosphere, the memories, that's the intangible service you're really paying for.
Okay, so even something like a concert ticket, which at first glance seems like a product,
Uh,
has this whole other service element attached to it.
right.
That's pretty interesting. So I guess what I'm wondering is, are there things that kind of blur the lines between products and services?
Of course. Happens all the time. Think about a software subscription. You're paying for access to software, which seems intangible, right? But you might also get updates, customer support, and other perks that really enhance the experience. It becomes less about a one-time purchase of a tangible product and more about an ongoing relationship with the company and what they offer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like those meal kit services.
Hmm.
You get the tangible ingredients, but it's also the convenience of having those recipes, the ease of not having to think about what to cook, and maybe even the experience of learning how to cook new things. It becomes way more than just the stuff you get in the box.
Exactly. And really understanding these differences is super important because it impacts how companies market and deliver value to their customers. Now let's dig a little deeper into the world of products. Chapter 8 talks about different levels of products. Think of it like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Oh, yeah. I remember this from the textbook. It's about looking beyond what's on the surface of a product and understanding what the customer is really getting out of it, right?
Yeah. You got it. The first level is the core customer value. This basically means what problem does the product solve or what need does it fulfill? Let's go back to that new phone you mentioned earlier. What would you say the core value is there?
Well, I guess at the most basic level, it's about being able to stay connected with people and having access to information whenever I need it.
Exactly. It fulfills that need to communicate and stay informed in today's world. Now think about the actual product. That's the second level, the physical phone itself. It has a specific design, materials, features, and branding.
So the actual product is all those tangible aspects that make it different from every other phone out there,
Hmm.
like the camera quality, the processing speed, how much storage it has, and of course, what brand it is.
Right. And then the third level, the augmented product, includes all the additional benefits and services that come with the phone. This could be things like the warranty, free shipping, return policies, or even access to exclusive content or a community of users.
So it's like the whole package, the complete experience that goes beyond just the physical phone itself. All those extras can really make a difference when a customer's deciding what to buy.
Exactly. Now, Chapter 8 also divides products into two main categories: consumer products and industrial products. What do you think is the main difference between those two?
I'd say it's the reason someone's buying it. Consumer products are for personal use, the stuff we buy for ourselves or our families. But industrial products are bought by businesses to use in their operations.
Spot on. And within those categories, there are even more specific subcategories. Let's start with consumer products. Imagine you're walking through the grocery store. What kind of things are you tossing in your cart?
Hmm, let's see, probably some milk, bread, eggs, the essentials. And maybe I'd grab a bag of chips if I'm feeling snacky.
Perfect. Those everyday items fall under the category of convenience products. They're the things we buy all the time. Without putting much thought or effort into comparing them, we just grab them and go.
But then there are those purchases that require a bit more thought, right? Like when I was trying to decide on those new headphones, I did a ton of research, read reviews, and compared prices at different stores before I finally decided to buy them.
That's a prime example of a shopping product. These are the things we typically compare based on features, quality, price, and style before we decide what to buy. We're usually willing to invest more time and energy into making the right decision.
Okay, so convenience products are all about speed and ease, while shopping products require more thought and comparison. So what about those products that have a really dedicated following where people will go above and beyond just to get their hands on them?
Those would be specialty products. These are items with really unique characteristics or a brand identity that a group of buyers is willing to go out of their way to find. Think limited edition sneakers, designer handbags, or even those rare collectibles that people are obsessed with.
So it's about exclusivity, status, and a strong emotional connection to the brand. What about those things that we don't really think about until we really need them? Like a fire extinguisher or a plumber when something breaks.
That's the category of unsought products. These are things that we usually don't think about buying until a need pops up. We might not even know they exist until we're faced with a specific problem that needs a solution, like life insurance, funeral services, or even roadside assistance.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these different categories can influence how companies try to market their products. Now let's switch gears and talk about industrial products, the stuff businesses buy. What are the main types of industrial products?
Well, we can break them down into three main groups. First, we've got materials and parts. These are the raw materials and manufactured components that companies use to create other products. Think things like wood, steel, fabric, or even those tiny computer chips that are in pretty much everything these days.
So these are kind of like the building blocks of other products, the stuff that happens behind the scenes before a finished product ends up on a store shelf. What about the equipment and machinery used in making those products?
Those are called capital items. They're those long-lasting goods that businesses use to develop or manage the finished product. Think about big manufacturing equipment, robots in factories, or even the computers and software used for design and development.
It's like the heavy-duty equipment that makes production possible. And then there are all the supplies and services that keep a business running smoothly every day.
Exactly. This category covers everything from basic office supplies and cleaning services to more specialized things like legal advice and marketing consultations. It's all about supporting the overall operations of a business.
Wow, this is really fascinating. I'm starting to see this whole world of products and services and how they all connect. But it's not just about tangible stuff, right? Chapter 8 also mentions marketing organizations, people, places, and ideas. That's where things start to get a little more conceptual.
You're right. Marketing goes way beyond the physical. Think about politicians running for office, athletes building their personal brand, even cities trying to attract tourists. They're all using marketing in one way or another.
So it's not just about selling something you can hold in your hand. It's about creating a perception or an image in the mind of your audience. But how do you market something that's intangible? Something you can't actually see or touch?
That's where creativity and strategy are essential. You have to find ways to make those intangible things feel real. Take place marketing, for example. A city might use stunning visuals, captivating stories, and maybe even endorsements from celebrities to make you feel like you're already there.
So it's about creating an experience and then finding ways to capture that experience visually and emotionally.
Exactly. And when it comes to marketing people, think about how celebrities carefully craft their image on social media. They use endorsements and public appearances to build a brand around themselves. They're basically treating themselves as the product.
It's like they're building a product, but the product is their own personality. And then you have social marketing, which is about promoting ideas that benefit society.
Right. Like, think about those campaigns that promote environmental awareness, public health initiatives, or social justice causes. They might not be selling a physical product, but they're using marketing techniques to spread a message and encourage positive change.
Okay, I'm starting to see how the principles of marketing can apply to so many different things. It seems like it's all about knowing your audience and creating a message that speaks to them.
You got it. And that brings us to another really important aspect of marketing, branding. This is a big topic, so let's dive into that next.
Sounds good. I'm ready to get branded. Okay, so branding. It's like everyone kind of gets it, but it also feels like there's always more to it. Where do we even start with something as big as branding?
Yeah, it's true. Branding can be a pretty complex topic. But let's start with the basics. What exactly is a brand? It's got to be more than just a logo or some catchy slogan, right?
Yeah, it feels way deeper than that. It's more like a feeling or an image that comes to mind when you think of a certain brand.
Exactly. A brand is kind of like the sum total of all the experiences and associations a customer has with a company or product. It's about creating a perception and identity that makes you different from everyone else and really connects with your audience.
So it's about making a lasting impression that goes beyond just the actual product. How do companies actually go about building a strong brand? Is there some kind of secret formula?
I wish there was a magic formula, but there are definitely some key strategies that companies use. One really important concept is brand equity. It's basically the extra value that a brand name gives to a product on top of the actual benefits it provides. Think about it this way. Would you be willing to pay more for a pair of jeans just because they have a well-known brand name, even if a generic pair had all the same features?
Probably, yeah. There's just something about a strong brand. You feel like you're getting something reliable and maybe even a little bit of status or prestige.
Exactly. And building that brand equity involves a few key things. First, you got to have differentiation. What makes this brand stand out from all the others? What's their unique selling point? Then there's relevance. Does the brand actually connect with what the target audience needs and cares about? Does it fit into their lifestyle?
Right. A brand could be super cool and trendy, but if it doesn't really match my style or what I need, I'm probably not going to be interested.
And then you've got brand knowledge. How familiar are people with the brand? Have they even heard of it? Do they know what it stands for? This is where marketing and advertising come in. You have to make people aware of your brand and what you offer.
It's like they say, out of sight, out of mind. But it's not just about being known, right? You also have to have a good reputation.
Absolutely. That's where brand esteem comes in. How highly do people regard the brand? Do they trust it? Do they respect its values? Building a strong reputation takes time and consistency. It involves things like having awesome customer service, being ethical, and maybe even giving back to the community.
So it's not just about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk.
Yeah.
All of that contributes to building a brand that customers really connect with.
Exactly. And that trust that you build can actually translate into brand value, basically, how much the brand is worth financially. A strong brand can charge higher prices, attract loyal customers, and even give you an edge over your competitors.
Mhm.
Now, let's talk about some of the decisions companies have to make when it comes to managing their brands. One common approach is brand extension, using your existing brand name to launch new products in a different category.
Oh yeah, I see that all the time. Like when a popular snack brand suddenly starts making cookies, or a clothing company branches out into accessories.
Exactly. They're trying to take advantage of the trust and recognition they've already built to enter new markets. But it's not always a slam dunk. The new product has to align with the brand's core values and make sense to the target audience. If it doesn't, it can actually hurt the brand's image and even alienate some loyal customers.
So it's kind of risky, but if they get it right, it can really pay off.
What about when a company has a bunch of different brands, but they're all in the same category? Like, I've noticed that there are a ton of different laundry detergent brands, but a lot of them are actually owned by the same company.
That's a strategy called multi-branding.
Mm-hmm.
Companies do this because it lets them target different types of customers and cater to different preferences. Some people might want the cheapest option, while others are looking for the strongest stain remover or something that's eco-friendly. By having multiple brands, they can appeal to all those different needs and get a bigger piece of the market share.
So it's like they're trying to cover all their bases. But it also seems like it could be tough to manage all those different brands and make sure they don't end up competing with each other.
It definitely takes some careful planning. Each brand needs its own unique identity and something special to offer. And then you've got new brand development, creating a brand from scratch to target a specific market. That seems like a way bigger challenge, almost like starting a whole new business. When would a company decide to go that route?
There are a few reasons they might do that. Maybe they want to enter a new market or a new product category where their existing brands don't really fit. Or maybe they want to create a brand that's specifically designed for a niche group of customers.
Like when a luxury car company launches a more affordable line under a new name to appeal to younger buyers.
Exactly. It's about knowing your market and creating a brand that fills a specific need. Now, remember how we were talking about the difference between products and services? Well, branding is important for both, but marketing a service has its own unique challenges.
Yeah, that's true. Services are intangible, so how do you build a brand identity for something you can't see or touch?
You have to focus on the experience and the feelings that people associate with the service. Think about airlines. They use images of luxurious cabins, friendly flight attendants, and exotic destinations to create a feeling of comfort, excitement, and adventure.
So it's like you're creating a real-world representation of something that's actually intangible. You're selling the feeling, the promise of a great experience.
Precisely. And because you can't really separate a service from the person providing it, the people become a big part of the brand. Think about a hotel. The people at the front desk, the concierge, the housekeeping staff, they all shape the overall experience and the brand's reputation.
Yeah, that makes sense. If I have a bad experience with a hotel employee, it's going to affect how I feel about the whole brand, even if the hotel itself is amazing.
Absolutely. That's why internal marketing is so important for service businesses. It's about training and motivating your employees to provide outstanding service and really embody the brand's values. They become like brand ambassadors, shaping the customer experience at every touch point.
So it's not just about attracting new customers, it's also about making sure your employees are representing the brand in the best way possible.
Exactly. And because the quality of a service can vary depending on who's providing it and when, it's really important to have clear standards and procedures to ensure consistency.
So you want to minimize the chances of someone having a bad experience because the service wasn't delivered consistently. It's about creating an experience that meets expectations every time.
Exactly. And lastly, services are perishable, meaning they can't be stored or saved for later, so managing supply and demand is super important.
Like those empty seats on an airplane or a restaurant table that sits empty during rush hour. That's lost revenue and a missed opportunity.
Chapter 8 talks about something called the service profit chain.
Hmm.
It basically highlights how happy employees lead to satisfied customers, which then leads to profitable growth. Everyone wins when the service experience is positive.
So it's all connected. Happy employees create happy customers who then become loyal, spread good word of mouth, and ultimately help the company succeed.
Precisely. And that's why investing in your employees, creating a positive work environment, and always striving to deliver amazing customer service are all so important for building a successful service brand.
This is all making so much sense now. I feel like I'm really starting to grasp all the ins and outs of marketing both products and services and how branding ties into both.
That's great to hear. And remember, we've just scratched the surface here. The world of marketing is always changing, and there's always more to discover. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you a solid base for your studies and maybe sparked your interest to learn even more.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot already, from those basic definitions of products and services to all the strategies behind branding. But Chapter 8 has even more for us to think about before we wrap things up. I remember reading about packaging and labeling and thinking, oh, that's pretty simple. But now I'm realizing it's actually a lot more important than I first thought.
Yeah, you're totally right. Packaging and labeling can seem kind of basic, but they play a really big role in how a product is marketed. Think about when you're walking down a store aisle. What's the first thing that grabs your attention?
Definitely the packaging. It's like it has to stand out and make you want to pick it up and check it out.
Exactly. Packaging has a few different jobs. It protects the products, it tells you important info, and maybe most importantly, it communicates what the brand is all about. Think about Apple products with their sleek, simple packaging, or something like Crayola crayons with their bright, colorful boxes. The packaging tells you something about the product and the brand before you even open it.
It's like the product's outfit. It has to make a good first impression.
Yeah.
And labeling is just as important, right? It's more than just listing ingredients and nutritional info.
Yeah, labeling goes beyond just giving you the basic facts. It's a chance to tell the brand's story, point out what makes the product special, and even connect with customers on a more emotional level. Like, think about those craft beer labels with cool artwork and funny descriptions. They're targeting a certain type of customer and creating a whole personality around the brand.
So packaging and labeling are both strategic decisions that can really make a product more appealing.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something that often trips students up on exams: product lines. Basically, a product line is a group of products that are related in some way. They might have similar features, target the same group of people, or be priced in a similar range.
Okay, so like all the different flavors of Oreos would be a product line. They're all cookies, but there are so many options to choose from.
Perfect example. And companies have to be really strategic about how many products they include in a line. If they don't have enough, they might miss out on meeting all the needs of their target market. But if they have too many, it can be overwhelming for customers and make things more complicated on the production side.
It's all about finding that balance. Chapter 8 also talked about product line stretching, basically, taking a product line and extending it beyond its current range.
Right. You can do that by stretching upward or downward. Stretching upward means adding more expensive premium versions to appeal to customers who are willing to spend more. Stretching downward means offering more affordable versions to attract people who are more budget conscious. or to compete with lower-priced brands.
So like a clothing brand that's known for being affordable might create a premium line with higher quality fabrics and designs to appeal to a different type of customer. Or a luxury car company might introduce a more affordable model to try to get younger buyers interested.
Exactly. It's all about finding new ways to grow and reach more people in the market. Now let's zoom out even further and look at the product mix. This is basically everything a company sells, all their different product lines and individual items.
So it's like their entire collection of products, everything they offer. Chapter 8 mentioned a few things to consider when you're analyzing a company's product mix, right?
Yep, there are four main dimensions: width, length, depth, and consistency. Width is how many different product lines a company has. Length is how many individual items are in each product line. Depth is how many variations of each product they offer. And consistency is how similar all the product lines are. Like, do they all target the same type of customer, or are they all sold in the same way?
So a company like, say, Procter& Gamble, with all their different brands spanning across so many categories, everything from laundry detergent to toothpaste, would have a really wide and lengthy product mix, right?
Absolutely. They've got products covering a ton of different needs. And their product mix might not be super consistent because their products are in so many different categories. On the other hand, a company that focuses on just athletic footwear might have a smaller product mix, but it'll be a lot deeper, with tons of different shoe styles and variations.
Wow, it's all making so much sense now. I feel like I'm finally seeing the bigger picture behind all the products and services we see every day. It's not just stuff randomly appearing on shelves. There's a whole lot of strategy and planning going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. And remember, we've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to learn about the world of marketing. But hopefully this deep dive has given you a good foundation for your studies and maybe even sparked your interest in learning more.
It definitely has. This deep dive into Chapter 8 has been super insightful. And a huge thanks to Grade Guru for helping us make this happen. Don't forget, everyone, you can head over to gradeguru.nl for practice exams, a full chapter summary, and a bunch of other resources to help you absolutely crush those marketing exams.
Keep learning, and remember, the best marketers are the ones who stay curious and never stop exploring the world of consumer behavior.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening, everyone, and good luck with your studies.